I decided that probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, well, actually probably before that, when I went to Ibiza, slow down with the reactions and stuff. Not because I don't love reactions, because I do. Well, lots of reasons that I put in this video. And as it was my main focus of work, like the income that I was making wasn't enough to survive on, really.
I've got nothing left. I've got nothing left.
A regular 9 to 5, get my Dolly Parton on. The only thing with that though, which I didn't foresee, is that it would be difficult for me to find a job. People, it is real out here, yeah. And this is probably the longest, and it's only been a week and a half, but in terms of the applications that I've made, like, I'm used to hearing something back. So this is new territory for me, and I don't know whether this is just a whole new world. I decided that probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, well, actually probably before that, when I went to Ibiza, that I was gonna probably start drawing a halt, not halt, but trying to slow down with the reactions and stuff. Not because I don't love reactions, because I do, but because, well, lots of reasons that I put in this video, but there's lots of things happening with the music industry and how they're like claiming and copyright striking reactors and stuff. Plus the fact that I wasn't getting the biggest amount of volume, so it meant that I was putting a lot of effort and a lot of time into getting these videos out and not necessarily getting the viewership and the audience engagement and stuff. And as it was my main focus of work, like the income that I was making wasn't enough to survive on, really.
I've got nothing left. I've got nothing left.
So I was like, right, I need to get myself back into full-time employment in a regular 9 to 5, get my Dolly Parton on. The only thing with that though, which I didn't foresee, is that it would be difficult for me to find a job.
Bitch, what the fuck? Bitch, what the fuck? Bitch.
Like, maybe because I've been living in my own bubble with my channel for the last 18 months and I haven't really had to dip my toe into the job market in the UK. But people, it is real out here, yeah. Like, I have sent off now, so it's been a week and a half, I'd say, and within that time frame I've sent off about, I'd say, between 7 and 8 applications. No, I've probably sent off more actually, because I haven't heard back from all of them. So I've probably sent off about 10 or 11, maybe 10 or 11 I've probably sent off, and I've heard back from about 7 of them. About 7. I haven't got one stage past hitting apply on that button. Yeah, I have not had anyone call me back. I've not had anybody message me. I've not had anybody that said, oh brilliant, like, let's get you in for an interview. No one.
No one, no one, no one.
And at first, because I'd realized that I was actually sending out my old CV, which was not updated with my current stuff at all. You know, when it's on LinkedIn and you send through like the easy apply and you just attach the CV, and it's like, oh brilliant, well, they can look on my LinkedIn, they can see what I've been doing, like the CV just backs up the stuff before that, so it's fine. Then I had a look at my CV, and it was a template that I'd used, it was a word template that I'd used, and I really liked this CV because my old CV was just very much text. I said it was dry, but for me it was dry. I mean, it was always my CV, it had all the correct information that you need to see when you have a CV, but it was just dry. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna revamp this, and it had a little bit of teal in there, or duck egg if you like, with some blacks and stuff, some block colors. It was really nice, and you know, some like light grays. But when I opened it, the formatting, I don't know what it is, and I don't know if it's just me, right, but there's certain formatting in Word that just does not make any sense.
Right. Why do we keep doing that? Like, it's going this way. Like, no, I'm fucking trying to straighten it down. This shit keep going like, whoop. Like, no, go do.
Like you'll go to move one thing, and then all of a sudden you've got like there's some whole table that's just disappeared, or like another bit of text has completely like decided to go 96 point and then it's locked and you can't move. I'm just like, what is going on? I'm like, well, this is the CV that people have seen. So not only is it not up to date, it's also all over the place. So I was like, right, okay, I need to do this, redo this CV. So I actually went to Canva and I was looking at some of the, just some modern CV templates. Because I was like, I don't really want it to be something that's just dull and boring. And I know that like the information is there for people to kind of navigate as quickly as possible because they get so many applications now. But I'm also like, as someone that's had a channel, and like I'm fairly artsy and creative, I think, as well. So I was like, I want that to kind of not be distracting and not be something that looked gaudy, like, but at the same time has got just a little bit of something in there. And my favorite color is purple, so I found a way to kind of like bring in like a hint of that, like with some like again with blacks and white. The initial template I saw was actually black and orange, and I thought, and it literally, as I was scrolling through, like it hit me. I was like, ooh, I like that. That looks quite cool. And then I was like, I feel like the orange might be a little bit too garish, so I kind of toned that down with like a goldish kind of creamy color. And it's got like because obviously purple and yellow are like complementary colors. And then like the purples is very slightly accented, so it's not really like got all that much color, but it's probably more colorful than your bog standard black and white one. But again, it looks quite, I think it looks quite modern. Anyway, so I've gone for that, and I wanted to keep it to like a one sheeter because again, I'm conscious that people have got lots of CVs to sift through, and in my naivete, yeah, I was like, well, obviously I'm going to get an interview for something.
No.
That's fine. I can go into more detail in what these roles are there and then. So I've got my about me section, because the other thing as well that I was struggling with is how to tie in like the work that I've been doing with my channel with the work I've done previously. So all of my kind of working career has been in some kind of customer facing or customer engaging position. So be that like working on the phones in call centers, and working my way up through those businesses, or working in recruitment, or most recently before I did my channel, I was actually a digital marketer, so I was working for a big advertising company, and helping customers with their digital advertising campaigns. So getting their websites together, doing website health checks, their social media, advertising in terms of Google paid search, and just helping your kind of your typical, like my dad, for example, he's a welder, like, and he did really, I mean, it's probably a little bit better now, like, but he's not so au fait when it comes to what to do with taglines, and how to answer all these reviews and all that kind of stuff. That's all online. Give him something to weld, that's him blessed. But anything other than that is not really his forte. And then in the same business, I then went into a more in-depth kind of like customer kind of, they call them in life account managers. So you've got like a portfolio of clients and you look after them, and again you help grow the campaigns, and you've got sales targets and BD, business development and stuff, while developing opportunities with customers that are already warm. And then I kind of springboarded into like a quality assurance role, which was by far one of like the best jobs ever. And if any of my friends who were in that team ever seen the video, you know what I'm talking about. And then I went into a very specific role with a very cool title. I was an agent of change. That was like a real cool role of being able to look at basically a lot of customer complaints, also customer churn, and try and root cause analysis and what is happening, why people are leaving us, and trying to see what we can do to fill the bucket. Because at that business, as much as we were like acquiring new business, we were losing them through the back door just as quick. And then I moved into a customer experience insight analyst role. So a lot of people who don't work in that kind of industry might confuse customer service and customer experience. And whilst customer experience will look at the service that customers get, customer experience is all about, like, I guess, the journey that a customer goes on from the minute that they start their thinking process about interacting with the business, right through to them then deciding to purchase something, or to buy a service, or to use that business, and then the life cycle of that. So what happens when they've got an issue? What if they've got something that needs resolving? How is that resolved? Like, what kind of complaints happen if they do happen? And by the end of that, if they decide to leave, like, why they leave, how they leave, what that experience is like for them. And I guess looking at the overall journey of a customer and the experiences that they have, and therefore how a business shows up for that customer and pretty much goes beyond, to exceed the expectations of that customer, that can really demonstrate the longevity of that customer staying with that business. And particularly in, like, the modern age, because there are just so many options now, and I think people's expectations of the services that they use are also quite high, not just in terms of the service that they can get, but also what the business stands for, who they are, what they do, how they treat the environment, how they treat their staff, the diversity of their workforce. Like, all these different things impact how some customers, not all, will interact with with the business. So it's really important that, where possible, that you're looking at those friction points. So I was like, this is all the work that I've done previously. This is all the kind of stuff that I've done before. And actually, customer experience sits, like, across, like, everything. Like, so when you're reporting to, like, your senior stakeholders and stuff about what's happening in the business, and therefore where these pain points are and what we need to focus on, and hopefully what will then impact, the right kind of changes and give us the best bang for our buck. You take that kind of mentality and that kind of experience and all those different things that built up over the years and stuff. Again, this is sounding like I'm will you hire me? Like, but when you take all of those experiences and stuff, and then you transition that into a YouTube channel, which on the face of it might be like, well, there is nothing relatable to what it is you were doing previously, with a YouTube channel, when you're reviewing, like, Money Long or Beyonce or Dimash or Gabrielle or whatever. But actually, there are so many links to that, because you guys are my audience, you guys are my stakeholders. Like, how I engage with you, how I show up for you, how I manage your expectations. And I know I'm not perfect. There's a lot of companies out there who aren't. So I know that there are people that have, subscribed to me, have left, same Patreon and what have you. But it's how you go about, I guess, continuing to show up and continuing to kind of give great experiences, and the ones that people will then want to, well, the saying has always been an experience that people are willing to pay for, but that they're also willing to stay for. And I think that's the thing that I've always had in my head, like, whether it's that someone is literally paying, like, a membership, or that they're just happy to keep coming back anyway. Like, it's about what you're providing. So, all the elements of my channel, be that, like, the actual recording, being confident on camera, the actual editing, the audio editing, the video editing, the thumbnail editing, the SEO optimization, the splicing up for different platforms like TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, and, like, all the different things that come with, like, having to run a channel, having to build Patreon, having to find a commercial offering that would seem appropriate for someone to want to go into Patreon in the first place, building my website and having all this merchandise that I built from, like, there are so many different things that come into being that creative. But the links between being customer focused and being obsessed with how your audience, or the people that you're having to engage with, those kind of things are really important. Do you know what I mean? So the reason I'm explaining all that is because these are all the things that I've been going through in terms of how to amalgamate all those skills into the kind of next position that I'm looking for. And it's not necessarily that easy, because if you are an insight analyst, then you look at like data all day, every day, and you ain't recording on no camera. Do you know what I mean? Necessarily. So it's been a bit of a order to try and put that all together, but I've found a way, and I think there's a very good singular line of truth. Anyway, so I put all that together and put that into my CV. And then, like I said, I'll just keep getting, thanks for your interest, but we will not be moving forward with your application at this time. Thanks for your interest, but we will not be. And, I'm quite resilient. So I'm like, well, I just started looking, and some of these jobs I wasn't really like, that really hell bent on getting. So, it is what it is. But the one today,
I am sick. I am sick of your shit.
it was for a customer experience advisor. It was a remote role, and one that I would imagine like didn't command the same kind of salary that I was on previously. But I still put what my salary expectations were. I'm a big believer, which I never used to be. But when it comes to your salary and what you're worth, I do believe that like what you don't ask for, you don't get, because ultimately a business is always going to be looking to, to hem their margins where possible and to get the best talent they can for the best price that they can. But if you know what your worth is and you know what you bring to the table, there's absolutely nothing wrong with asking for that. So for me, I was still kind of lowballing what I would like, but I was like, do you know what? I don't know what this role will be paying. I don't want to like outprice myself of this position. And what I really liked about this business is that the application process was not an easy one, so you can't just do like an easy like bish brush on LinkedIn and then send it off. Like you actually had to apply. But when you went through their application, the questions they asked you were like, there was really great open questions, and ones that weren't just why should we hire you, like what skill sets do you have. It was more about what excites you about this business, like what's exciting you about the role, what 3 things do you think you can bring to this position, and And again, like being so customer focused, and as I've always been in my jobs and stuff, I was like, this has been really cool to fill in. And they also had like a question right at the end that was like, you can either fill in something like what's your superpower, or like a fun fact about you, and there were some other ones. And I did think about letting them know about my my love affair with Queen Bee. I say love affair. She just kissed this chick, but that was enough for me at 19 years old. I was like, oh my god, she touched me. we can wait for the crazy. They don't need to know about all that just yet. So I was like, well, I can hold a tune. So I was like, maybe I'll be able to serenade my way through to the next stage of this process. And I came off that thinking, wow, that was really cool. And I really, looked at their website, watched their video, was really like, yeah, okay, cool. Get to this morning, yeah.
Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise.
I don't even think the afternoon had come good. I got an email from them. I was like, oh, brilliant, okay. Fully being like, I wonder what, like, when, is the interview going to be like this week, going to be next week? Because remember, this is for a customer experience advisor. So I know again, I can't speak for this business because I don't know, because I didn't get the position. But like, there are some people that will interchange these terms, customer service, customer experience, because again, they want the customer to have a great experience. So as this advisor was going to be helping people with their kind of like photo orders or whatever, but or the photo software tools and stuff, and actual like merchandise, actual cameras and all that kind of stuff. So you'd be helping them, from what I understand of it, like in terms of some of the stuff they're ordering from place to place, and problem solving and that kind of stuff. So to me, it was a little bit of it was definitely customer assistant, customer advisor, customer help, customer care. And this is no offense to anyone that does customer care, because I think anything customer facing can be challenging, because people can be challenging, and that's just the nature of people. I'm people, and I know that sometimes I can be challenging, so I know. Again, I do not mean this in any kind of conceited way, but like, I'm overly qualified for a role like that. Like that, I can quite confidently say that. So when I opened the email and I saw, unfortunately,
no, God, please, no, no, no.
I beg your biggest pardon. I beg your biggest pardon. Like, what? And they were like, oh, you know, we just won't be moving forward with your application due to the fact that we've had some stronger candidates. Now, again, this role is a customer advisor role for people that want to discuss their items that they maybe can't find. Maybe there's some issue with the shipping, or whatever, or the address is wrong, or whether they're calling in with queries and need they need a resolution to the contact that they've made. This is not something that I couldn't do with my eyes closed. Like it's beyond crazy that someone would say to me that there are stronger candidates for to do a role like this, and it's very unlike me. But because usually, like, you want to get some feedback, but I couldn't even understand the feedback. I'm like, what do you mean? So I actually emailed them back to be like, look, thank you for getting back to me so quickly. I'm genuinely saddened to hear that, like, I won't be moving any further forward in this process, and because I definitely felt as though that I was overly qualified for the position that you were looking for. And then I kind of like reiterated, and not in kind of a you need to reconsider way, because for me, if you looked at my CV and you didn't think I was suitable, then that's a decision that you've made, and that's fine. But what isn't fine is, I felt anyway, to almost imply that, like, my skill set wasn't strong enough to do a role like that. It doesn't matter what CRM system you have. It doesn't matter the means in which that we would, like, speak with customers. Like, there is not a cat-telling chance that a role like that I could not do. Like, you cannot tell me that. You cannot tell me that. And I just wanted you to know that I know my worth when it comes to that. So, but again, you know, I undoubtedly respect your decision and stuff, and that's fine. And I wish them well in whoever it is that they're looking for, that they feel will fulfill their role better. But in that moment, I was like, I have managed to step outside of a very well-paid job, like, to do something that I'm passionate about, and yet, you know, we call a spade a spade. It isn't paying me what I would like it to pay me, so it's not as successful as I would like to be in terms of monetary value, but in terms of, like, an audience, or in terms of people that have, you know, tuned in or whatever, which I would never ever not be grateful for. Like, that's something that, like, I've been able to cultivate, and so to have the tenacity to do that, on the back of already having a pretty, like, successful career when it comes to that particular industry, I'm like, nah, man, you can miss me with that. Like, and it just made me think about my channel. I need to see how I can go about a different way in trying to capture a space in which people, you know, can tune in, something that's relatable to even more people, and something that, like, doesn't cost me every time that I make a video, in that I don't know whether I'm gonna make anything of it, or if, you know, it's all gonna go to the artist or the film or the TV series or whatever. So I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna document my journey into finding work again, and just see how it goes. Now, I'm also very aware that this could be, you know, this could come back to bite me in the bottom, because ultimately, which business would, because then, you know, someone that's a potential employer might be like, well, I don't want to be the next video, like, so I think I have to be kind of mindful of that. But I think it's just worthwhile just documenting what it's like to find work when you are someone that's got a skill, you've got experience, you've got qualifications. Like, how long will it take? And I don't know whether or not it's purely because, like, I've gone self-employed, or the type of self-employment that I've undergone, or, like, again, maybe my CV is just terrible. I don't know, but we will find out in the next few weeks, because I'm gonna, you know, do a little bit of A/B stuff and just see. Well, you know, we've had the first CV that was a bit of a mess, but the second revision of that was a bit of a mess. We've had the third revision of that, which is a lot more succinct and modern, but perhaps maybe too succinct and too modern. So now that is modern, but it's because it was on one page. We've now gone back to 2 pages. So, and what's really interesting as well, well, I think it is that I actually included a testimonial from one of my subscribers on my CV, because it was such an amazing, like, testimonial, just comment. It was just awesome. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna put this on my CV as well. So I guess we'll see what happens, man. But my friend who is a content creator, well, sorry, he's an artist and is now a content creator on the back of his art. When I first said that, I was thinking of like just pausing my channel a little bit because I needed to get plugged back into the matrix basically. And he was like, bro, you can't do that. You can't do that. He's like, I promise you. He's like, you won't. Not only will you not want to do it, but he's like, you've got something here. And I think just trying to justify my worth to someone for a role that I know that I'm like, and again, I don't mean this in any conceited way. There's going to be positions, I'm sure, within your own fields of experience and stuff where, you know, point blank, you could do that with your eyes closed, regardless of the business, regardless of the system, operations, or whatever. You know, you could do that. And I'm like, there's no way that someone's going to say to me that that's something that they don't, that there is a stronger candidate out there. So I'm almost begging you for a position that I feel I'm so far past, really, that I'm surprised that you wouldn't even meet with me. Like, but then I'm also very much, because I've in my whole life, I've never had a problem finding work ever, if I was in the mode to find work. And this is probably the longest, and it's only been a week and a half, but in terms of the applications that I've made, like, I'm used to hearing something back. So this is new territory for me, and I don't know whether this is just a whole new world I'm just not used to. Because I'm even looking at LinkedIn and seeing like how many people are applying for these roles and stuff, and it's like, well, you're gonna have to like massively stand out, which is why I'm saying that, like, for me, having like a little bit of color in there, and just, you know, it's just something else to kind of stand out with, that isn't just your monotonous black and white text. That's, you know, I was like, can I put a picture in there? Because I got a nice smile. But nobody cares about that. So yeah, man, that's what's happening at the moment. So in the meantime, like I said, whilst I'm still looking for work, I will be focusing on my channel. So I think I've decided to do is I'm gonna have, like I said, another channel, another space, and I'm gonna call it Room to 703 Chats. And it's gonna be a space, I think, that just allows for me to kind of talk about things that well, just it's just a bit of everything and everything, really, because there's so many things I've got comments on, yeah, and there's so many things I see that I'm like, I want to get people's opinion. I want to talk about this, and I want to see what other people think about this as well. So yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do, and then we can just see how that kind of like grows or like changes as time goes on, because I've always wanted to kind of bring some other people onto this space and talk with them online and whatever. The reactions, because of just time constraints and stuff, there's never an easy way to do that. Whereas something like this might become a little bit easier to do. So yeah, as you can see, I'm excited. And this is the thing, like, I came to terms with the fact that whatever it is that I look to do, like, that is outside of this space, that I know already that it's going to be something that, like, I'm not going to love because I love this so much. But if something can align with the things that I value and can provide that worth, can provide that kind of job satisfaction, so I can get up every day and sort of like, I've got a great team, I've got that great flexibility, you know, then I don't think that this has to be the be all and end all. And if I'm honest, I kind of want to continue doing whatever it is I'm going to do on here, like alongside whatever it is I do as well. So I guess we'll see. But what I'm not going to do is continue down here begging for people.
Like, I'm just fed the fuck up. I can't take another minute of this bullshit.
Yeah, and not be getting content out there, because that doesn't make no sense. So yeah, I'd love to know, like, what people's, I guess, what your experiences have been if it comes to, like, you know, have you been in the job market recently, particularly if you've been self-employed, and I'd love to hear from people who have done like any kind of like social media content creation and then decided that they wanted to kind of move back into that kind of corporate world and stuff. You know, what was it like for you? Is it something that you're doing like side by side? Like, did you do what I did and kind of leave a corporate job to kind of do that, and you know, things maybe didn't work the way you wanted them to? Or actually you're on the other side of that, we're like, listen, I left that behind a long time. Like, my days of knocking down someone's door to come and do a job that I could have done 10 years ago, them days are done. Do you know what I mean? So it'd just be great to hear what other people's experiences have been. Thank you very much for watching with me. If you did, I'm gonna need a different slogan for this one. We haven't ironed out all the kinks yet. For now, it's a juicy mouth out. Because when you got a juicy mouth, yeah, you love to chat, and I do love to chat. So we call it juicy mouth, like over here, look pan juicy mouth now. So yeah, for now, it's juicy mouth out.